someone for exemplary contributions to the profession of pharmacy. So this is a much more global award, and we are very excited to be presenting this award this evening, unfortunately posthumously, to Robert Louis-Ferdinand, and this will be presented by Mr. Greg Case.
Thank you, Sarah. As Sarah mentioned, the Wayne County Pharmacists Association Award, the Webster Award, goes to someone who we felt made outstanding contributions to the profession of pharmacy. And this year, we have chosen Dr. Robert Louis-Ferdinand. For those of you who went to other schools, Michigan or Ferris or any of the other schools, he was a professor at Wayne State University, professor of pharmacology, part of the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences. His background, he was born in New York, I believe the Bronx, in 1937, attended Cardinal Hayes High School in the Bronx, where he graduated in 1955, got his Bachelor of Science in Chemistry from St. Francis College in 1959. He was in the Army from 1960 to 1963 and was a research chemist. He received his master's and his PhD in 1969 and 1970 from the University of Rhode Island, became an assistant professor at the University of Maryland from 1970 to 1976, and in 1976 to 2015, he was that professor of pharmacology at Wayne State University. His final ranking was Professor Emeritus for the college. Along the way, he did a visiting professorship at Kitasato University in Tokyo, and was awarded the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science Fellowship as part of his stay there. He received a Ford Foundation Fellowship from the National Academy of Sciences in 1982, and at the college, he was quite the prolific researcher and publisher. He had close to 60 articles published to his credit. But what brought our attention to Dr. Louis-Ferdinand, in addition to all these wonderful things, was he was a great educator. If you look at the span from 1976 to 2015, that's close to 5 decades and close to 4,000 student pharmacists. One of my colleagues, in talking about him, and the thought is mirrored throughout the pharmacy community, he was a great teacher, and very sad to hear about his loss. Thousands of pharmacists are better because of him. He was recognized by the college no less than 9 times for being the outstanding instructor at the pharmacy school. 78, 79, 81, 82, 84, 86, 90, 93, and 94. And he received the Excellence in Teaching Award from Wayne State University, both in 2000 and 2001. To mirror what one of my colleagues has said, Dr. Louis was one of the best instructors I ever had. I look at his guidance as one would view a single lit candle. With a spark from that one candle, a distribution of light has been spread worldwide. His knowledge helped to create a great many exceptional clinicians. One of the personal experiences that was brought to my attention was our colleague got Abdullah and her sister Mona, both student pharmacists at the time, had a family issue that kept them from taking Dr. Louis' exam. They came back afterwards to take the exam, and it was a 1-hour oral exam. And Gada confided in me that was probably the toughest thing that she had ever done. But with an instructor like Louis-Ferdinand, the motivation and the teaching that he did, both of them were able to pass. And it wasn't easy. Drawing on another colleague's experience, in my experience, I had him back in 1976 when he first got to Wayne State University. And it was just the most marvelous thing. His graduate students, his office, it was like magic. It was like a breath of fresh air. But one of the things that he talked about in his lecture, he was talking about beta blockers. Okay, and for folks who don't understand what a beta blocker is, it's a medication that's used for heart patients and blood pressure control. And one of the cardinal side effects that you can get from a beta blocker is vivid nightmares. And now, Dr. Louis, at the time, was taking beta blockers, and he indeed confided in us that he was having those nightmares. But he let us know that as vivid as the nightmares got, he never encountered a beta receptor as part of one of the nightmares, okay? He had a sense of humor. About 10 years ago, there's another facet to Dr. Louis, and it's his faith. About 10 years ago, my aunt was in a nursing home and she was dying. I got a call from my mom saying, "Hey, Greg, there's a gentleman down here administering to the sick and the dying. Says he's a professor at the university. Come on and see him." And I went down there, and it was Dr. Louis. And what he was doing, very humbly, going and visiting these patients, praying with them, giving them the Eucharist when appropriate, or giving them candy. But faith was a very powerful component of Dr. Louis. And I remember the day I saw him, a humble man with a wooden cross around his neck. Okay, just amazing. All this being said about Dr. Louis, one of the most important things of Dr. Louis, and this wonderful life he had, was his family. I read this, and I feel I have to share it with you. He had a baby picture of himself that he inscribed to the kids. Now, on the back of this baby picture, he said, and I quote, "When I posed for this photo, I had no idea of the wonderful adventures awaiting me, nor could I anticipate the joys I'd experience with your mother, Camille, my children, and my grandchildren. I thank God for all of you. Love, Dad." So he's probably the most complete individual that you'd ever want to meet, and I think he's looking down at us now. On behalf of Wayne County Pharmacists Association, we have his daughter Amelia, his son Robert Louis, his grandson Noah, and his daughter-in-law Carrie. I'd like you to come up and accept the award. Dr. Louis' wife would be here herself, but she's in Arizona with one of the other children and daughter.
think my dad would be so proud that his youngest son finally won the award in pharmacology. So I just wanted to point that out. A little humor that I had to add there. Make it easier. So on behalf of our whole family, my mom, my brother, my 2 sisters, the 13 grandchildren, the 2.2 great-grandkids, we just thank you. It means a lot that you gave this award to my dad. You know, if there's any comfort in a time like this, it comes to me from just seeing the people in my dad's life. He was an incredible person. And from meeting all the students and the colleagues, I find that my dad wasn't a different person. He was one person. We just all got to see him from a different lens. And it was really nice, and it's been really nice to hear all the stories that people have shared with me, to hear that lens that you've seen from him. And I just want to share a couple of comments from my perspective as his son. You know, one thing about my dad that you know, that he loved pharmacy. It was his life. He loved it. I mean, he loved his family. He was a very reverent individual. He was a great husband, but he loved pharmacy. It was all about what he did. And with the neighbors and church members, he wanted to share everything about drugs. You know, at the funeral, there was a person that told me, he says, "Your dad is the greatest guy that I know that knows about drugs." And I'm like, maybe you might want to hold that back. But, you know, and that's what he was. He was that caregiver. He had that attitude of that. He was also an educator. He loved to teach. You know, it was such a blessing for me as his son, because that's all he wanted to do was teach me how to be a better man, how to be a better member of society, how to be a better caregiver. But he loved teaching his students, and it was a passion that you could see every day. I've got a few college degrees, and I'd come home and my dad would be sharing stories about his tests and the students, and I'd be dealing with my own professors, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, those people must hate you." But then the year that, you know, he's winning Professor of the Year. And it meant a lot to me, because I know what it is to be a student and to respect and love teachers, and that just shows me how much he cared about it. And then just to his colleagues, I can tell you that he loved you. That one of the best blessings is to meet quite a few of you guys. And maybe you thought the phone would stop ringing after my dad passed away and would keep calling you and inviting you to family functions. Well, we're around, and hopefully you can be around with us for a long time. It's a pleasure to have this family as a part of our family. So that being said, it's sad for us. It's sad for you. It's I guess it's indicative of the great job my dad did as a father, that we miss him so much, and we miss him as a professor, and we keep that in memory. So our family prays that you guys enjoy the field of pharmacology as much as my dad did, that you can share it with the communities as much as my dad did, that you share it with your families as much as my dad did. So God bless you and thank you.